So I actually just got my notification maybe a minute or two ago. Because I did like just go live. So we'll see. Oh, it's really helpful, OBS, that you just aren't going to show me chat. That's fun. Okay. Go bigger than that. Okay. Enough of the road trip mix. How are we all doing tonight? That is the wrong screen. That one. There we go. All right. Yeah, OBS is just lovely. All right. Welcome to what I am. Okay, turn myself up. I can do that. Okay, how about now? That shows me just redlining. Or I can. How about there? That should be good. That should be. Make sure I can see thing. Oh, should. There we go. Anyway, we are. We are doing hobby time. So what I intend out of these is kind of a mix of your standard, you know, lots of art YouTubers will do draw with me. You know, not everyone is an art guy, so not everybody draws. So I'm not saying, hey, you need to draw or else you can't watch. That'd be rude. So if you want to spend your time painting or spend your time working on music or painting Warhammer minis or doing whatever you need to do, I figure, hey, let's hang out and do those things. I am mostly going to use this time to focus on, you know, kind of my standard art process, right? So, you know, what does that look like? That's, you know, some kind of basic warm up. You know, then I'm gonna go into. So there are kind of two things I'm working on right now. I'm kind of getting into perspective in a big way, and figure drawing. So perspective and drawing people. So I'm going to try to focus on those two things mostly as far as what I'm going to work on today. So we're going to do a basic warm up, and then we're going to do kind of basic forms in 3D space. Which is going to morph into forms in 1 and 2 point perspective. Which is then going to morph into probably gesture drawing. I haven't done gesture in a few days, so we're going to probably, I'm going to do a few minutes of 30-second to warm up, then go into 1 minute, and then kind of finish out with some 2-minute gestures. And so once we kind of have that going, I have some like worksheets that I should work on that kind of go into, you know, body proportions and, you know, there's like a pretty good exercise of, you know, you draw you draw the torso and the hips, and then you kind of do, cylinders for the arms and legs, just to try to get the proportion or try to get the angle correct and get yourself a little bit better. So I might do some of that. There is something that I'm going to work on a lot, or work on next week. And so I'm probably, once I do the gesture and once I'm kind of happy with my pose stuff, I'm going to try drawing. So I have this homework, for lack of a better term, to draw a bedroom in 1-point perspective, with a sci-fi or fantasy flair. So I'm going to go ahead and start laying down my guidelines, my perspective lines, and everything for that. And I think if I get all that done, that should be three-ish hours of drawing. And that'll be a good evening, I think. So yeah, feel free to follow along. Feel free to do your own thing. I'm going to go ahead and get started. That much smaller. So we're going to start with some basic warm-ups. You can kind of see how I get started. So obviously stretch is an important first part. Get your shoulder loose, get your wrist loose. Wrist, especially if you're drawing small. Shoulder if you're drawing big. Obviously the whole point here is to just kind of get yourself up and running. So I'll do big spirals like that. Just sort of get some mobility going. Then I'm going to start doing something like this, where you're drawing long flowing curves, and you're going to try to make them as long and flowing as you can. And you try to get them as close together as you possibly can without them touching. And also as quickly as you can do them. And so this is all about pen control. This is all about making sure that you're sort of putting yourself where you want to go. Because I think, at least for me, starting out, a big issue was, you draw a line and, you try drawing like a straight line, for example, and it'd be like that or like that, or, and just sort of getting some kind of tempo going. Maybe I'll go to some horizontals, and I'll do some vertical lines too. I'm not super great with verticals, especially as they get longer, but it's a process. You kind of, the more you do them, the better you get at them. And these actually look pretty good today. These are pretty solid, right angles. I don't know who that was, but I'm not checking Discord. So you do some of that. If you have something that has really good pen pressure, I'd set your brush big and Start light and just try to get really smooth. That one wasn't that smooth, but like that. You're just sort of working on improving your pen pressure. There it goes. Or some of these other things. Oh, ribbons. Ribbons is a good one. You go back to your pen. So the idea with the ribbons is you're working on just trying to kind of keep horizontal lines and keep them in perspective. So I'll do something like that. And I have to sort of figure out what that looks like. And so I think I'll probably extend that out a little bit. Like that. I think that looks okay. Maybe that's a little bit too wide, but you're just kind of doing some things like this. And it was good up until the end there. This isn't the smoothest one. I'm not super happy with that. You work on it, you improve, you do a bunch of these a day. If you're bad at circles, move on to circles. I've actually gotten pretty okay at just freehanding circles, so this is also good for just warming up your shoulder. Do some tiny ones to get some wrist movement going. Maybe do some ellipses from different angles. You're just kind of, the idea is, you work on these basic shapes enough. They're kind of the building blocks of everything you draw, that you get a good sense of like what you're good at, what you're bad at. I'm really bad personally at certain angles like that. Like there you saw it. I can't really draw that angle nice and straight. So I'll spend some time just sort of working that through. And that's a weird angle, that kind of up and across your body like that. Let's make some room here. Some good circle and ellipse practice I like to do is I'll start with a circle. Oh, that's... Yeah, that's good enough. And then I'll just kind of slowly start rotating it, you know, towards me. So it'll be kind of a crushed ellipse, and then you crush it a little bit more. Crush it a little bit more. Crush it a little bit more. And these aren't super clean. I'm actually kind of unhappy with these, but warming up is, probably a good half hour or so of practice before you actually get nice and warm and you're able to put lines where you want them. Until it's basically just a line. And you just kind of start doing the same thing from the other side. Really thin ellipses. Just sort of thicken them up as you go. That's not that different from the one above it. Maybe I'll try to go in this way, see if that. Not the cleanest at all, but you get the idea. You're kind of, if it helps, you can make like a shape with it where you're at the widest here and you're at the narrowest here and then you're at the widest again here. Another fun thing to do is I've made a little shape here, so I'll go ahead and try to make it three-dimensional. Go ahead and add some perspective to it. Kind of like that. So I'll go ahead and kind of start working on some of those forms, right? So as you can kind of guess, ellipses will be or cylinders will be where I start. Cylinders are spheres. Spheres are good because you need to basically always be drawing circles. It's, if you think about the sphere, the cube and the cylinder, you know how to draw these three shapes. You can basically draw anything. Basically anything you draw is just drawing these shapes from different angles. And I'm not particularly good at any of these, so yeah, start with spheres. Kind of my sphere drawing, especially if you're not doing a ton of work on your fundamentals, right? There's a Mark Burnett video that I did in November that's like how to learn to draw in 30 days. And it kind of gets you there, right? Day one you're starting out and it's basically just draw a circle and cut that circle in half like that. Day two is draw that same circle again and then put another circle behind it a little bit. Go ahead and now you've given it some perspective, right? And on like these early days, you can draw it once, or I would draw this or this pairing or those like spherical days. Like I would draw, hundreds of these. There was a video I saw once about tempo, which is where that came from. And the whole idea is tempo is, your your kind of proportion between like long smooth strokes like this and then like working on short details. And so one of the things you would do with tempo, and so it's both, working on small details and working on big lines and small details and kind of doing that hierarchy between, big, medium, small, right? But also there's like a shape hierarchy and there's like and so anyway, I'm getting distracted. One of the exercises you would do is you would create like a little S curve or something like that, just kind of something like that. And you would draw bubbles. And so you would try to make it so that your bubbles kind of are on this curve. And there's not really a huge like rhyme or reason to them, but they're still like you know what I mean? You like what you don't want is like this right here. These are like three mediums, like big, medium, medium, big, small. What you want to try to avoid is recognizable patterns. Like here's a medium and a small, here's a medium and a small. But basically when I was starting, I would just try to fill up a bubble beam as much as I possibly could. So I would overfill it, and I would actually try to make all of these spheres as well, because I'm trying to, you're trying to see. And it's hard to do digital, it was hard to learn this digital, which is why I recommend everybody get a sketchbook, even if you're mostly like a Procreate artist or whatever that might be. Because like my sketchbook circles, you can take a pencil. A lot of my circles would be taking a pencil. I'll do this lighter one, and I'll just start really light, and I'll just kind of go and go and go in the motion until I have something more or less approaching a circle. And like even now when I'm like just knocking one out, I'm usually doing that a few times, just pen off paper, just to kind of get myself in the flow. And you have to draw, I've probably drawn 4,000 or 5,000 circles in 6 months. You have to keep drawing them and draw them and draw them. And if you're, just watching TV, just open up a random crappy sketchbook page and draw a bunch of circles, and in a bubble beam like this, try to do interesting patterns with like shapes in front of other shapes, make it like cool, like, I would try to make it look like cool, like asteroids or planets. And sometimes I would try to get fancy and have there actually be like a some sort of perspective going. So instead of it going, flat, a flat shape like this, it would actually be like, it would be like this. And so you would have your big ones in front, your big ones in front, and then you have things, and it just gets smaller and smaller. Basically, you're trying to force some 3D into it, just to try to like get it into your head, right? Um, but you know, guessing it's like that. A little bit more extreme. Okay. Another fun exercise to do, perspective wise, is you draw a trapezoid like this, and you try to guess where the middle is. Guessing it's like there. A quick way to tell is just to draw from corner to corner. And I was off. It's actually way back here. And so, you can do really extreme ones like this, and this one's actually way, way back here, I bet. And I was more or less right on. So I'm trying to get that way with my 1 point, just sort of understanding where the angles are. So, once I can visualize that, then I can do things like cut this corner out, and then it's probably something like that. Like that. you know. So, yeah, I'm okay drawing the perspective grids, at least for now. I'm not super confident with the with just sort of freehanding it. I know I'll get there at some point, but you know. I think the thing with fundamentals is you have to find a way to make it fun, make eating your vegetables fun. Because, you can easily come to this and be like, this is just absolutely dreadfully boring. And I get it. It's not, you know, it's not the sexiest thing to do. It's You know, hey, I'm working on shapes. I'm working on finding out center points in planes, you know, in perspective. Where's my shift key? So this shift. That's enter. This should be shift. So I guess I can move to the camera now. There's no harm in it. Hey. I bought a little mini keypad for this thing for Prime Day. So I'm still trying to get it set up. So I guess I can tell you all my stream setup now. It's a little bit different, you know. I'm on my laptop, which is where my Clip Studio is. So I've got my desk raised up a little bit so that it's at a good drawing angle, and I've got my just laptop webcam here. My normal streaming camera is like up here. If I had additional regular USBs, I'd probably try to plug that in. But I'm either going to keep drawing like this or, you know, I'll figure something out. But yeah, for now I'm here. Let me try to get that fixed on. It's okay. We're going to go ahead and do gesture, I think. So if you're going to draw along, 2 websites, pick your choice. So this is one I recommend, lineofaction.com. And then the other one, the one that I'm actually going to use today is .net, not .org. So pick one of those 2. I'll leave those up for drawing along for a little at least. Cool, yeah. So go ahead and pick one. I'm doing Sketch Daily today. I'm debating if I want to do class mode or just do 30 seconds for a while and then do minutes and then yeah, let's do this one. So 7:15. So this is one of those exercises that you really ought to do every day. I am not particularly great at it. If you can, try to keep your canvas at 100% like I'm doing. And you know, I'm going to move my canvas around just sort of as I draw. And so So if you're gonna do sketch daily, I'm gonna do all genders, all clothing, all poses, all views, 30 seconds, and I'm gonna just try to fill this one page. I'm not super, you know, if you want to take a look at some of my earlier days, you know, this is sort of what I'm aiming for. This is four of them. This is a full like 30 minutes of 30 seconds, but we're not going to do that many today. Um, and so 30 seconds is going to feel extremely quick. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and throw this music back on. And let's just go ahead, 3, 2, 1, and let's get started. Okay, so, I kind of generally get started with your action line. You don't really have a whole lot of time to you know, 30 seconds is really isn't a whole lot more than that. Okay, so it's doing that crazy angle like that. Okay. Of course, yours are going to look different than mine. It's just sort of the nature of it, right? But some of these aren't super great. But And so one of the things that I'm really kind of focusing on when I do these quick ones is make sure I'm getting hand placement relatively accurate. And just, the big curves is what's important because you really don't have a whole lot of time to focus on detail or anything. But as long as you can kind of get hand placement, foot placement, and the big curves, that's, everything else will basically fall in line. So I've got the hands basically here. That allows me to get the shoulder. And then I can get the big curves. Okay. I've actually seen a bunch of these a couple times before. I've been using this one for a while. So I'm relatively used to this pose set, but this is new. I'm running low on canvas here, so I'm just sort of, doing the best I can. These proportions are all messed up, but so there's like a big knee right here in the front. Okay, and then stop for now. Okay. So that was my 30 seconds. That was one canvas worth. Okay, stop that. Yeah, so these, I'm actually pretty happy with these. What I'm going to go ahead and do now is I'm going to go ahead and switch over to 1 minute. We're going to use the same exact pose set. And so with a little bit more time, now my focus is shifted less on just kind of getting the basic, so here, all I'm really focusing on is getting kind of the basic like lines and the, making sure there's some action to the poses. Yeah, exactly. These are nude references, which is why I'm not showing them on YouTube. Um, so yeah, should have mentioned that beforehand. But yes, there are nude models in these uh, pose sets. Um, so it's all good. We're adults here, but basically here I'm trying to focus as much as I can on trying to get the 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 pose to look natural and flowing, and maybe the proportions don't need to look great, but I'm really focused on the movement part. And so now with a minute, I still don't have a whole lot of time to like get good proportion, but you can focus on it a little bit more and try to nail this down just a little bit more. So we're going to do the same exact settings. All 1 minute. Let's go ahead and get the playlist going. And then we're going back. 3, 2, 1, and go. Okay, so yeah, just got a little bit of time here. So if you have extra time, then go ahead and start cleaning it up a little bit. But the idea is, focus on the giant curves that you see first. Then you go with hand placement. So all the way down to the foot there. If it helps to kind of do, your. I was doing this a lot at first, kind of thing. But, whatever works for you, right? The idea is to just draw a bunch of people quickly and work on getting your poses So this one's tricky because there's a lot of like drapery. And so the question is, do you just ignore the drapes and just sort of do the actual underlying, or do you worry about the drapes and try to get, you know what I mean? That's something that I'm still trying to figure out. It's an interesting pose. Okay. That was kind of nice. I like that one. Um, yeah, this one's really easy or really basic, you know. Don't really have room to do this one, but Actually, let's go ahead and stop. Let's go ahead and do this one pose, and then we'll go ahead and call it after this one. Okay. All right, that should have felt a little bit nicer, a little bit more relaxed. Um, Obviously, with double the time, you've got more time to just sort of get things in and focus on making sure you got the pose kind of where you want it. So kind of. Oh, nice. I got this one right here. Was like a guy with a crazy angle, like doing a some sort of crazy flip. It's kind of awesome. Um, and so we are going to go ahead and do a 2 minute. Really quickly. Yeah, something you should do every day. I don't. I should. I'm definitely getting better at it, but I'm. No, that's not what I wanted. I wanted these two merged. There we go. There we go. At this point, you should start kind of focusing on body proportions and some of that other fun stuff, right? But okay. We are doubling our time again. And so I think the thing with the 2 minutes is find the artist of your choice to kind of teach you this stuff, right? But whether that's kind of for the torsos doing like a doing like a beanbag shape, or doing doing connected cubes like that, or I'm kind of I'm kind of a fan of the once you sort of have an idea of how to make that work, and then once you sort of have these, you do the rib cage, and then actually the hip ends up being like three ellipses like kind of tied together. Got the top, then you've got So it's looking at like one hip angle, and then that hip angle is away from you, or from the front. It's like, you know, kind of like that. So, you know, figure out your body construction choice. And this is really when you have some time. It feels like to start bringing that in there, but you know, at this point, I'm going to start focusing more on proportions, making sure the torso is the right amount of heads and the arms are kind of hitting the right points and hitting the right landmarks and all that fun stuff. So, all right. 2 minutes. 3, 2, 1, and start. Okay, so. Just like a dress in the way. So clothing makes it a little bit trickier if you haven't figured it out. Trying to like trying to get everything right. Hand's actually lower. It's like there. Okay. You know, at this point, you're actually able to, if you're not struggling too much with the pose, start adding in additional details like clothing, like, you know, in this case, my guy has a hat on, so I'm drawing in the hat and I'm drawing in his wristwatch, and he's wearing this vest. A little bit too much hip. it's tricky because it's kind of a weird angle, but. Okay. This will be my last one. I'm starting right now. this whole thing in a little bit. There we go. All right, that'll be all for that. Okay. That is the 2 minutes. We did something like an hour of gesture, which is good. That's a lot of drawing. So usually what I like to do is combine the layers of what we did. So I kind of keep track of everything that I did day to day, and I have it all just on the same sheet. Kind of like this. So I think you can I can tell at least that my drawings did get a little bit better and a little bit more accurate, just sort of as the session went on, as the class continued. And I hope that you see that with yours. If you're not super thrilled with yours, just kind of keep practicing it, right? You know, try to do it every day. Try to do it a couple times a week at minimum. You know, this is maybe one of the best exercises you can do as far as improving as an artist, or so they say. But okay, then I just merge them. Yeah. All right, how's everyone doing so far? We are how long have we been going? Hour and a half? Hell yeah. Yeah, hour and a half. Okay. What now? What do I want to do? So I did gesture. That was kind of the main thing. This whole stream was just an excuse to force me to do my gesture drawing today. So haha, I did it. I did it. Let's see what else. Do I have my room file up? Test stream, test streams, test stream. Ba, 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 ba. Line art, character sheet, proportions. I could probably do that later or tomorrow. Okay, let me try to find. Room. Here we go. Okay. So for the room, I am using a 4K canvas. And I don't actually know how the Clip Studio perspective ruler works. So just you put a point on it and Not sure I get it. Oh, I see. I see. Thing. I think I get it. Add a vanishing point. I'm gonna do dead center. Eye level. So you're that's eye level. Here. Okay, why did it do that? Oh, it's only doing that side. I kind of think I get it now. You just sort of put it generally where you want it, and then I guess. Okay, that sort of makes sense. No, it doesn't. Yeah, I think so. Hi, buddy. Cat break. Meow. Yeah. Say something to the people. Yeah. Ba-ba-ba. Okay, what does that say? Yeah, I think I'm going to work on perspective now. I'm going to work on my. Okay. Okay, we're going to turn off the ruler layer just because I don't understand it. We're going to do this the old-fashioned way. So if I can understand how this works. Straight line. Okay, so I'm going to set my horizon line. Create my vanishing point somewhere along it. Same. So this doesn't completely work because I'm not able to set the same exact point, the same exact angle. There, right? Okay, that just skewed it. Just put me on a Dutch angle, which is not what I wanted. Okay. You know what I'm going to do? I think I'm going to end the stream for now. I'm going to watch some videos and learn how this damn ruler works. Because it doesn't make any sense to me. So I'm going to go ahead and stop now. If you drew along, hey, that's awesome. If not, hope you're able to be productive. And I will probably do something like this again soon. You know, this was, after all, just supposed to be a test, but, you know, I will go ahead and say yeah, thanks for watching. And we will be, you know, we'll do this again. I'll try to figure some things out for next time. And keep this party moving, right? Maybe actually work on my own real art and not just studies. But honestly, studies are like 99% of what I'm doing these days. You know, I guess I can kind of show off some of the other stuff. It's not a whole lot. I'm doing like this. So I'm doing stuff like this. So this was an exercise that I like showed or talked about before, where you'll draw like the um, you know, you'll take an image and then you'll try to do the best you can, mapping out the torso and the hips, and then you're doing the cylinders to try to get the um, arms and legs in the correct angles and stuff. Um, which one is this? You know, you start that maybe before by drawing over top of images, doing the similar thing. Um, where's my line art page? Here it is. You know. You know, just trying to freehand some line art. That kind of thing. So, you know, we're working on it. We're getting there. I will eventually do some art of my own, which honestly is going to be this room if I can figure out the damn perspective tool. But maybe we'll do that next time. Perspective hell. So yeah, look forward to that whenever that happens. Look out for the invite. I'll probably post on wherever I normally post if that's going to happen. But yeah, keep an eye out. I'll stream when I stream, and talk to y'all later. Peace.